Hey folks, how are you doing? Today I would like to talk about something pretty interesting. It's about lucid dreaming and how you can actually record your own dreams. I was actually inspired to take a video on lucid dreaming after a very specific episode which happened last night. I was finding it so difficult to fall asleep. In fact, I was waking up, getting back to my bed, again waking up, again getting back to my bed. And this was happening a couple of times, in fact. And in this process of trying to fall asleep, I was just lying in my bed and doodling something on my iPad. This was something I doodled while being in this semi conscious, dreamy state. I doodled this and I completely forgot. I never got a chance to even look at this again until recently. In fact, when I got a chance to see this image again, I was completely surprised by what this image means. There was this person on the table and he was surrounded by a 3D carousel of books. Now, what could that mean, right? It's not the first time this has happened to me. I've had a series of recurring dreams which has been so clear and vivid that I've been able to even write about it or sketch about it after I've woken up. Today, I want to take you through some of my own experiments when it comes to lucid dreaming and how you could use it in your case as well. Again, what do we really mean by lucid dreaming? By practicing lucid dreaming in a more conscious way, we take it from the dreams being more murky and chaotic to it being controlled and vivid. In fact, most of my friends mention that they're not dreaming enough. The problem is really not with the fact that they're not dreaming enough, it's just that they're not able to remember the dreams as much. An average person spends roughly 2 to 4 hours every day dreaming, and if you just multiply this by the average number of hours in a lifetime, it's almost up to 6 years a person is spending while dreaming. Wouldn't it just be fascinating if we are able to remember our dreams better? My inspiration to investigate lucid dreaming comes from a couple of examples. I was fascinated by Ramanujam's work. In fact, the Hindu god Narasimha used to come in his dream and recite various complex mathematical scrolls in his dream. Another example is that of this French chemist KEKULE. He was definitely beating around the bush trying to understand this chemical structure of the benzene ring, and suddenly this just appears as a vivid imagination in his dream of a snake biting its own tail. That actually led him to understand how a benzene ring looks. It's crazy, right? So let's talk about two steps that help you to get better lucid dreams. So the first step is to become more aware of your dreams, and there are a couple of ways in which you could do that. Number one is a reality check. This is an action which you perform to know if you're in a dream or reality. If you have already watched Christopher Nolan's movie The Inception, you might have noticed the scenes where DiCaprio comes with a spinning top and he's continuously spinning it to see if he's in a dream or reality. Spinning top stops after a while you're in a dream as well as in your reality. You prime your brain to use this as a signal to know if you're within the dream or not. Another way to remember your dreams better is to use some form of a dream journal. The truth is that we are quite forgetful of our dreams. The brain chemical associated with memory, norepinephrine, norepinephrine, whatever. Anyways, this chemical is at the lowest while we are in a state of dreaming. One way to capture those fleeting thoughts which we have dreamt is to immediately write them down or sketch them down as soon as we wake up from our sleep. Since I usually have my phone right next to me when I sleep, I just open my phone as soon as I wake up and log in my entries. Another technique which I use, which is slightly more crazier than the other ones, is the slumber with a key technique. This technique of slumber and key was made popular by the famous abstract artist Salvador Dali. For this technique, you casually rest yourself on an armchair or even a beanbag with your head tilted and resting completely on your back. Then you suspend a heavy key between your forefinger and the thumb of your left hand or even your right hand. It doesn't really matter. Just immediately under this heavy key, you place a plate upside down on the floor. The moment the key drops from your fingers, you immediately wake up with the noise of the fall. As soon as this happens, you enter the state commonly called as hypnagogia, where your mind is fluid and hyper associative. Salvador Dali used this technique to make his famous Dadaist paintings that were in the intersection of imagination and hallucination. Now that we know how to become more aware of our dreams, how can we actually interpret them? This is important because it's not just about getting interesting dreams, but it's also about how do we make sense of them and use it in our day to day life. There are two fundamental theories when it comes to dreams. In fact, Freud often thought that dreams are just some random, uncontrolled stimuli which is popping up in your mind. Whereas Carl Jung had a very different interpretation. In fact, Carl Jung thought that dreams are much more. He felt that this is a channel in which our unconscious or the semi-conscious part of our mind is communicating to us, our conscious selves. This makes me question, what does a dream which I had actually mean? What is it actually trying to tell me? And this definitely changes the whole perspective, right? And if you just stop looking at it as some kind of gibberish and trying to really find the deeper interpretation behind the dreams. In our dreams, we generally see a concoction of symbols, metaphors, meanings, even storylines. And it is definitely not possible to have like a glossary where you can just go through the symbols and trying to see, okay, this is what this dream means. It's definitely not possible because your dreams are highly personalized and subjective. It's up to you to interpret it. One way to interpret our dreams better is surprisingly by studying mythology. Carl Jung often refers to these common storylines in our dreams as archetypes. You often see the hero myth archetype even in the current cultural context. For example, you have the entrepreneur who is this supposedly the lone hero. You could see tons and tons of such examples from various societies and cultures, which helps us to understand the deeper meaning behind our dreams. Thank you for watching. I would really like to know more about your own experiences in lucid dreaming. I hope you can apply these principles for your next nap. Please feel free to reach out. My door is always open.